Why did you click this video? How did you find it? I'm not sure if anyone will see this video, but if anyone does, what brought you here? Did you click because you were truly interested? How could you be? You didn't know what it was about. Did you click because I told you not to? Or did you actually know me before clicking, and you wanted to hear what I had to say? I truly want to know. I'm not just saying that, I really do want to know. What brought you here? Why did you click on this video? I mean, this isn't the channel I use a lot, so I don't know why people would be watching these videos or how they would find them. Another thing I'm truly interested in is, was this the first video you clicked on today? I mean, when you opened YouTube, was this the first video you saw? I'm willing to bet it wasn't. Did you come across this video on your homepage? Was it a recommended? I want to give a shout out to DJ Spork. I recently found one of his videos and I really liked the format, you know, just him sitting down playing some COD Zombies. It's very chill, very relaxed, and I really appreciated that. And I don't know, I want to do something a little similar here, I guess. Just have a discussion with you guys while playing some games. One thing I wanted to talk about was, like, when was the last time you truly felt like you were in control when you were online? And I know this is like a topic tons of people talk about, but I think it's important to keep talking about this. It's something I'm really fascinated in, you know, the idea that, like, we aren't in control when we're online. I'll say I haven't felt like I've been in control when I'm online in a long time. Very long ago. Experts believe that we spend up to 20 years of our lives on our phone, and late stage screen addiction is not just like a conspiracy anymore. It's here in full force. It's a part of our everyday lives. And it's not really our faults either. I mean, there is something to be said for, like, you know, just put down the phone and go outside, but that's not as simple. You know, every single company online is actively competing to try and get as much of our attention as possible, to keep us online for as long as they possibly can. So you can't judge a person for being online. I mean, it's they're doing it because people are designing them to do that. People are building these habits into us so that we're stuck online, so that we can't pull off, so that it's not as easy as putting your phone down and going outside. I don't know if anybody else has this, but I've really struggled with, like, a morning routine, right? Like, back in the day, I used to wake up and I'd be getting ready for school, and then I'd leave, and, you know, that was that. At some point, I got a phone, and that is where things started to change, and it changed in little stages over time. Originally, you know, sometimes I would wake up and I'd get ready. Once I was done getting ready, I'd go down and I'd watch YouTube before I'd get picked up to go to school, and that was one thing. It was a totally different thing when I'd wake up and I'd turn music on when I was in the shower, listen to some music while I was getting ready, and that was fine. You know, that never felt like I was addicted to it, but I did like it. I did appreciate it. But what it was doing was it was subconsciously building these habits into me that I had no idea were being built into me. I never considered it. Eventually, it got pretty rough. You know, there was eventually a point where I would wake up and the first thing I would do, the very first thing I would do, is open up Instagram every single day. And that's something that we really should avoid too, you know, for so many reasons. First of all, the human brain, it's just not meant to take in all that stimuli right in the morning. There's also something to be said for, like, the fact that we're not supposed to be able to keep up with everybody who's doing everything all of the time outside of us. You know, people back in the day could only keep up with the few people they knew in person. Now we see everybody that we've ever known ever, including a bunch of people we've never met before, and we're expected to keep up with them and see what they're up to. It's also like when you wake up first thing in the morning, your stress hormones are higher, so you're easy to get stressed out, and it's one of the reasons why it's easy to get kind of sucked into online habits. And that is definitely what happened with me. I'd wake up, the very first thing I'd do is check Instagram, and I would blow through hours of my day scrolling through reels and watching Instagram before I'd get anything done. And this isn't even like a conversation about, like, oh, you know, you need to put down the phone to go be productive, but it's a conversation about, like, you need to put down your phone because it's destroying your brain and it's kind of destroying your mental status and your mental capabilities. I always felt pretty horrible after that too. Like, I'll say that pretty much correlates always with some of the more directly awful time periods of my life. When I was first thing I was doing was getting on Instagram reels and watching reels. It correlates with times when I was the most mentally drained and upset I've been. So I don't think that that's a coincidence, because the second I started to change that habit, it started to get a little better. But I didn't change it in a big step right away. I actually swapped out Instagram Reels for Godzilla Battle Line, and I would spend hours playing Godzilla Battle Line first thing in the morning, which I love that game. It's a lot of fun. But it's not a great way to start your day. You should never start your day like in the digital world. I think it's a pretty awful way to start a day. And that's exactly what I was doing. I'd wake up, the first thing I'd do is I'd hop into Godzilla Battle Line, and I'd be in there for hours. It literally took me like years to start dialing back on this, because I never really considered it all that much of a problem. Like, yeah, I was a little lazy. I was not using my day to the best of my ability. There was definitely time being wasted for sure. But a lot of that time I was in school, you know, and it was like, I'm not missing classes, and I'm not, you know, I'm also like in summer break. It's not like I'm missing anything important. So what's the problem? But eventually, you know, those habits build, and you're on your phone first thing, and then some notification pops up, and you go from your app that you're looking at to a different app, and then you're on your phone all day. Eventually I swapped out Godzilla Battle Line for YouTube, so I'd be on YouTube all day, and I'd just be watching YouTube videos. The first thing I do is turn on YouTube videos, and I'd be watching those. And nowadays I'm mostly better at that, but I'm still not great. Like, I do kind of miss the days when I would just wake up. It wouldn't even be an urge. Like, it wouldn't even be something I'd consider the first thing I do, getting on my phone. Like, it wouldn't be on the top of my head. I just wouldn't do it. I didn't have that desire. I'd wake up and I'd just get ready for my day so I could do the things I wanted to do. Sometimes that even meant like I'd wake up early for school and I'd go downstairs and I'd play Batman Arkham Asylum before school, you know? But eventually it just became like everything I did was consume content, watch videos. You know, I guess technically video games are a type of content consumption, but it's a very different type, and it activates a very different part of our brains. Nowadays I'm a little better at that. Like I said, like the first thing I do in the morning, it's hard to fight the urge to open YouTube immediately, I will say. It's a really difficult thing for me not to do, to immediately start my day by opening YouTube. I try really hard not to, but that is one of the very first things I do. I open my, like, literally every single morning, and I know this is also not a great habit, the first thing I do is I check my phone, you know, because I've got an alarm going on, so I turn the alarm off, and then I've got notifications, and I try and resist the urge to, like, check all those notifications first thing in the morning, emails or texts or whatever. Or app notifications, who knows. Like, I try to avoid doing all of that first thing in the morning. But every time I open my phone, the first thing I want to do is gun it straight for YouTube. And it's like, what am I going to do? I don't want to watch a video or anything. I just need to go get ready for the morning. Like, I don't know why that's such a strong urge. And so I really fight it. I really fight to not immediately hop on and just watch videos first thing in the morning. It's gotten to the point where I like actually have to tell myself out loud, which is pretty ridiculous, but I have to actually tell myself out loud, like, you don't need to consume content all the time. You can be in silence. Like, I have to tell myself, like, you don't need to watch anything right now. Because I'll turn a video on while I'm getting ready, like while I'm brushing my teeth or getting dressed or whatever. And it's like, why do I need that? I don't need that. I don't need to do that. I can just get ready and let my brain sit for a minute and prepare myself for the day. Think about what I'm going to do for the day, rather than be told what to think about because I'm listening to some video. Like I said, a lot of this is caused by the notification epidemic. The first thing you see when you wake up is a bunch of notifications. It's pretty hard not to click on all those, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to resist those urges. And that's by design. They want us to check our phone first thing in the morning. Those apps want us to consume content first thing. They want us to be hooked. The more time we spend online, the more money we'll spend online, you know, the more ads we'll see. And it's typically like a thing where I see those, you know, those red numbers over the YouTube badge on my home screen where it's like someone's uploaded a video or whatever. And yeah, it's hard to like not check that first thing in the morning. It's definitely one of the things that draws me to it. Meanwhile, I've got dozens, sometimes hundreds of text messages that I haven't responded to because I'm so dull to notifications now, you know? And it used to be like we'd get a notification because something was going on with us. You know, you'd get an Instagram notification because you were tagged in a post or someone liked your photo. Now I get friggin' notifications because someone posted to their story, or, you know, someone posted a picture. Someone hasn't posted in a long time, just posted. Someone commented on a post. Who cares? That has nothing to do with me. I don't know why I need a notification about that, but now Instagram gives you those notifications just because they need you on their app as much as possible. Every app does it. You know, Facebook does that. I don't actually use most social medias anymore. Instagram's like one of the only ones I still have downloaded, and even then, I haven't been on Instagram in like 2 years for the most part. I go on occasionally, but I'm not on it as much as I used to be for sure. It's not like I'm spending hours of my day on it anymore, which is really nice. But in other ways, it's like all these freaking notifications for things that don't matter to me, that aren't relevant to me, that don't have a direct correlation to me. It's got to the point where like I have no urgency when things do relate to me. When I get a text message, it's like I don't have a ton of urgency to answer it. Those notifications mean nothing because I'm so sick of notifications. I'm so sick of emails. I'm so sick of all the spam. I'm so sick of having to keep up with everybody at all times, which is another thing, you know, like human beings were not built to be accessible 24/7. We weren't built to have to be reached 24/7. That was never a thing we had to worry about until recently. Back in the day, you'd go to work and when you'd leave, your boss wasn't able to contact you and text you. You know, that wasn't the thing. Even with your parents, you know, you'd be with your parents when you're with them in person. You'll leave, you know, if you don't live with them anymore, or your friends or whoever, and they would have to wait to talk to you till the next time they saw you, or it would take a long time to get communication from one person to the next, which it's not like I'm saying we should go back to that. There's definitely major benefits to not having that and to having access to everybody you care about right away. But there's also major drawbacks. Like, I'm so burned out on text messages. I'm so burned out on having to communicate with people all the time forever. It's so stressful. I'm not a fan of it. Something I also want to talk about that like goes along with this is just Twitter overall. Like, Twitter is universally agreed upon to be the cesspool of the internet. It's such a toxic and hateful app. There's almost no benefit in being on it. All it does is exist to produce hatred and misery. Like, that's literally what the app is designed for, is to push things that make us upset, because it knows if we're upset, we're going to engage longer. We're going to read more comments. We're going to maybe comment ourselves. We're going to stay on the app longer. It's literally designed to rage bait. That's all it does. And now you see tons and tons of bots, and all those bots do is exist to rage bait. Like, that's all they're up to. They'll post a picture of like a celebrity that just says like, have you seen this? And it's a celebrity smoking or whatever, and then all the comments are like, can't believe this celebrity would smoke, and a bunch of people are getting on it, or you know, whatever. Like, it's all bullshit meant to rage bait people. I can't stand it. And that's all that app is, which sucks, because part of my job, and I am a content creator off this channel, and part of my job is to go on Twitter and to check Twitter for things that I'm going to talk about in my videos. And that sucks, because every time I'm on Twitter, I'm miserable. I have no good experiences on that app. Like, sometimes I guess I appreciate talking to some of my friends in my DMs, but that's about it. Like, even then, I can't be reached by everybody all of the time. It's super stressful. And then a lot of the times, you know, people don't understand, like, hey, I sent you a message, why didn't you respond? Or why is it taking you so long? And it's like, because I have a billion people that I'm supposed to be able to keep up with. Like, I don't know, it's it sucks. I was off Twitter for a couple months recently, and it felt so freeing. I just didn't have the care to get back on. I was doing other things that I wanted to do that were offline. There are other interests I have than being an online content creator, and so I was pursuing those other interests, and so I was not on Twitter, and it felt so freeing and so nice to not have to be on that app and see all the hatred and misery that was going on in the world. It's so freeing, which is another thing. You know, back in the day, people didn't have to have constant access to negative information. You know, we talk about how the news has been like turned into essentially just a platform to spew negativity because they know it sells. You know, fear sells, hatred sells. It's a way to keep people hooked. It's a way to turn people against each other, and by doing so, you're gonna create a more loyal following as it becomes an us versus them situation. That didn't used to have to be a thing we dealt with all of the time forever, you know? When people back in the day didn't want to read the newspaper, they just wouldn't. They could leave the news. It wouldn't find them. Now you get a notification because some horrible tragedy has occurred, and your apps are telling you to check this out. And everybody's expected to have an opinion on all of it all of the time. It's like, we weren't built for that. We were not built to be able to keep up with all of the tragedy happening in the world at all time. And we certainly shouldn't be expected to have an opinion on all of it, or some groundbreaking take. Like, not everybody is all that connected to these events. And so sometimes your app asked to weigh in on things, or you're expected to, and it's like, what does this have to do with me? I understand that like there's the idea that you shouldn't like ignore bad things, because then you're not speaking up and you're allowing it to happen. But this is not a thing human beings have had to deal with for the entire existence of humanity up until recently. Like, we shouldn't all have to. We shouldn't all have to keep up with all the negativity in the world at all time. It's not something human beings are meant to do. And that is another reason I really hate those websites. So the other day I got back on Twitter because, it's part of my job to be on Twitter. And so I was checking for my job, and I'll say it was like the most miserable day I've had in 2 months. I got nothing done. I was sucked into these endless scrolls, and it's not like it happened all at once. Like, maybe I'd open, a news source that I was looking for my other channel, and I'd check on that news source, and then who knows, I'd click off, I'd get a notification, I'd check what the notification was, and then next thing I know, I'm on the homepage and I'm scrolling, and there goes 5 minutes, and then I realize what's up, and I hop onto my next news source, and it continues, and then all of a sudden I'm scrolling again. And I know not everybody can relate to that, but I think we can all relate to a version of that, where it's like, you're not supposed to be on that website, you have no desire to be, but you just get sucked into these endless scrolls without even meaning to. It's brutal. That time I spent off Twitter, I felt more connected to my real life than I have in so long, because it was the last one. In many ways, Twitter is, it sucks that it is Twitter. In many ways, it's like the last social media platform I'm like a deep part of, where I'm off Instagram. I'm not on it very much anymore, another thing that sucks is that if you want to kind of have a career, especially as a creative in this world, you do need platforms like Instagram, and you do need to connect with others through those websites. So like Instagram's actually something I have to get back on, which is brutal. Same with Facebook, But because Twitter was like the last website I was kind of a deep part of, where I'm like spending a lot of time on it for my job, that time I was off felt so freeing. Like, I didn't have to keep up with everything. I didn't have to know what was going on in the world in real time. And I got to spend time away from that for a while and live in my actual life with the actual things that are directly related to me. And like, I got to go out into the world and experience things without having to keep people updated on it. It was really nice. I really, really missed that already, and I've only been back on Twitter for a couple days. Unfortunately, it's not just Twitter. YouTube is kind of like my little home on the internet. I have been making content on YouTube for a very long time. Obviously, I've been making zombies content on YouTube for a very long time. I've been posting videos since Transit came out, filming my TV. It's like I've been online on YouTube for years. I was actually on YouTube all the way back as far as 2006. I just wasn't posting videos on it until like maybe 6 years later. But I've been on YouTube since at least 2006, but it didn't used to be what it is, First of all, I didn't have 100% constant access to it. I had very limited screen time that I was allowed to be on YouTube. Obviously, as a little child, I'd have supervised screen time, which I always, as a kid, you want more. You want to be online more because of course you do. It's fun. It's cool. There's lots of stuff on there. You get to watch some fun videos, whatever. So of course I wanted more time online. But what was nice that I never realized is that the only way I had access to YouTube was through my family's desktop computer. Somebody's using that computer, that means I cannot be on YouTube. I'm not home, that means I cannot be on YouTube. I can only watch YouTube when I'm sitting down in front of the computer. Eventually we started watching YouTube on the Wii as well, which was also fun to get YouTube on the TV. It felt kind of special, but it was like, unless I'm home, those are my only options. And if I am home, there are other things I typically would have rather been doing. I love to play with toys. I love to play video games. So like there was other things I'd rather be doing than mindlessly consuming content, which is a lot of what YouTube is, which I know is funny to come from a content creator, a YouTuber. It is a funny criticism of the website, but even YouTubers have these criticisms. I think it's really important for everybody to talk about these things. What was nice about YouTube back in the day that like a lot of people don't realize is different now is that YouTube used to be fully in our control. I'd log on and I would go there looking for specific things. I'd go there looking for a War of the Gargantuas fan edit. I'd go there looking for Equals 3. I'd go there looking for like a specific thing. And a lot of this was spread through word of mouth. Somebody else had found this content and had passed on the idea, and then I was watching it as a recommendation. it was in my control. And, you know, back then the recommended feed, it wasn't as strong, so it was harder to find recommended content. There are pros and cons to all of it. Like, on some ways, it's nice to have a much bigger and easier access to finding content that you enjoy, but it takes your decision making out of the process, which is why I ask at the start, how did you find this video? If anybody did. And to some degree, it'd be kind of nice if nobody does, because it means that at least the algorithm's not like dictating everything for everybody all of the time. This video has no relevance coming up in anybody's feed. Again, unless you're one of the few people who are already subscribed to this channel, what purpose does this video have coming up in your feed? It doesn't have a lot. There's not a ton of purpose. YouTube used to be so fun and exciting as well. Like, I remember a time whenever I was excited to get on YouTube. When's the last time I felt excited, or you felt excited to get on YouTube? We all do it. You're here right now, but were you excited to open YouTube today? Why? What were you excited about? Maybe there's a content creator you keep up with daily or something, but like, generally speaking, what were you excited about? There was nothing exciting about it. It's just a thing I do because it's a thing I do. My YouTube habit, I would say, really started in the early 2010s, where I was keeping up with the Minecraft Project and Equals3 and Hunting Optic and whatever else, you know? Like, there was some things I was keeping up with. Not a lot, though. I really wasn't keeping up with many things, which is another major change that's happened on this platform. There was a time when I would only watch like 3 or 4 creators, and when I was done, I was done. I'd get off YouTube. I remember very specifically one time my family was watching the Super Bowl, and I did not want to watch the Super Bowl. I had no interest in it, and I got on YouTube to watch videos, and I was like, I've seen everything from my creators. There's nothing I want to watch on YouTube. And I was so bored, I got off YouTube. And that is a feeling I haven't had in a long time. I've been bored watching YouTube, but I haven't had a feeling where I'm like, I'm all caught up and I'm done here. And I leave willingly because I know that I've gotten what I wanted out of being on YouTube. Because it's not about us anymore. It's not about our individual choice. It's about algorithms telling us what's next and keeping us on what's next. In the mid 2010s, my habit of watching YouTube really shifted to an addiction, because that's when I started making content myself. And it's a different story. This is like something that I think can really relate to creators, but I don't know if it has any appeal outside of creators, so I'm not going to go too in depth. But that's when my addiction to the analytics was born. Like, this doesn't have a lot of relevance outside of if you're a content creator, but man, my analytics addiction was born so hard. I would wake up first thing in the morning and check my analytics. How are my videos doing? Are they doing well? You know, why is this video not performing that well? How are the comments doing? What are people saying on this video? I was really addicted to the analytics. Like, if the views were down, my whole mood would tank. Like, I'd be like, oh my God, this video that I put work into is not doing well. And it really would affect a huge part of my day. Like, I'd be really kind of miserable because of my analytics addiction. And that addiction got me addicted to my phone for sure. In the mid to late 2010s, that's when everything changed. It was no longer like I'm checking YouTube when I have free time. I'm checking YouTube whenever I have time, whenever I can. And that slowly got me on all the other apps. You know, now that I'm on YouTube all the time, I've seen Instagram notifications more often. So I'm on Instagram all of the time. And now that I'm on Instagram all of the time, I'm on other websites all of the time. It was really brutal, and it really dominated for a lot of years, where all I was doing was spending time on my phone watching stuff. I think a lot of people can relate to that. They just have different entry points. You know, we don't all have the same entry point. We didn't all get addicted to analytics. We all got addicted to something, though. And that screen time addiction, it grew into a consumption addiction. Like, I was always consuming stuff. Like I said, I'd be waking up, I'd be turning music on when I'm getting ready. The next thing I know, like, oh, I got a couple of minutes before school, or before I have to leave anyways, and I'm turning on a video and I'm watching a video. And it just grows to a point where I'm like, I'm at school and I like, for years, I wouldn't even hang out with other people during my lunch periods. I'd sit by myself and watch YouTube videos. Like, I wouldn't even hang out with people. And so I was like robbing myself of having friends and being in the real world. Even when I'm in person with people, I'd rather sit on my phone and watch stuff than talk to people. And it's like, no wonder I was so socially awkward for a minute there. Like, I didn't speak to anybody. I didn't have any interest in it. And that sucks. It took a while for me to start to be like, oh man, this is really unhealthy. And once I started to get off my phone, I started to make friends and have a way better time. I like had way more experiences that I'm really happy about and that I can look back on fondly. You know what I don't look back fondly on all that much? Watching YouTube videos during my lunch periods rather than hanging out with the people that I should have been hanging out with. It was around that time as well that YouTube's algorithm started to get a lot stronger, and so recommended videos started to become a much bigger part of the platform, and the YouTubers I kept up with went from like maybe 3 or 4 to the double digits, and it became really hard to keep up with people to the point where there was YouTubers who I've been watching for years, ever since like the start of the platform, like Rhett and Link, where I can't keep up with them anymore. They post all the time and I can't keep up with them because I've got 30 other YouTubers to keep up with, and YouTubers cycle in and out, and I'm subscribing to so many people and I'm not keeping up with any of them because I've subbed to too many people. That's a thing that I still deal with, where my subscription feed's so full of people and it's like, I like all these creators, but when's the last time I actually watched one of their videos? It's been months since I've watched any of their videos because I'm subscribed to too many freaking people. I can't keep up with them all. And this was at the same time when Instagram started to dominate my life, which really was with the introduction of Reels. You know, there was a while where I'd scroll the Explore page and I'd look at a lot of memes, and that was fun. I did have fun doing that. I actually really liked back in the day when memes were like pictures and you could look at them and then be done with them in a very short amount of time. That was really nice. That did not last for long. Reels were introduced, or videos, I should say, video memes before they were technically called Reels. And oh my God, that's where hours of my day would go, watching memes and looking at memes on Instagram, and it would just suck up all of my time. Once they did switch to Reels, it was even harder to get off, and I didn't realize at the time what all of that was doing and why. You know, people talk about like our attention spans are totally shot now, and that's definitely true. It definitely is true. There are things that I love, movies that I love very dearly, that I've seen numerous times, and now looking back on them, it's kind of hard to engage with them. It's not even like I'm bored of them, but I'm like feeling like I need to be doing something else while watching them. Then short form content invades YouTube in the early 2020s, and then it was over. I switched from, I started to realize how unhealthy Instagram was for me, and I tried to get off Instagram, and all I did was swap it out for YouTube Shorts. And so now I'm spending hours of my time scrolling YouTube Shorts because I'm like, well, at least I'm making an improvement. At least I'm not on Instagram. It's like, I'm doing the exact same thing. This is the same situation I was just in. Like nothing changed. I just used one platform instead of the other. And I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but I very frequently still kind of do. I'll get stuck in these content loops where like I will open my phone, I'll check YouTube, there's nothing I want to watch on YouTube, or I'll watch YouTube for a while, I'll get off YouTube because there's nothing there that I want to see, and I go to the homepage, and the very next thing I do is click on YouTube again, and I'm back on YouTube, like subconsciously, without even knowing what I'm doing. I've circled back around to just being back on YouTube. I feel like I can't be the only one who has that. I think some people have that with TikTok, and at least I've never really been on TikTok, so I've never had that with that platform, but I have it with all the others. I have it with YouTube anyways. Sometimes I'd have that with Instagram. Like the second I'm off, I'm back on, and I don't even mean to be. And then you're like, okay, well, I'll look at this one meme anyways, because I've opened it, or this one short, and then the next thing you know, you're 30 more shorts deeper than you were when you tried to get off the first time. This is a bit of the other perspective of that, but from a content creator's perspective, or even just from a consumer's perspective, have you noticed that every YouTuber fell off? As a YouTuber, I can tell you, we all fell off. 2019 was like peak of YouTube for everybody. And I'm talking like everybody. Even Mr. Beast, his relevance, he's more popular than he's ever been, but even his relevance has kind of slipped. Every YouTuber has been falling off. I definitely peaked around 2019, and at the time I thought, because on my other channel I talk a lot about Godzilla, so it's like, okay, well, the Godzilla movie came out and then it was no longer in theaters, and so after 2019, of course it would make sense that my channel would fall off. But everybody did. I'll watch a Wildcat video, and Wildcat's talking about how hard it is to be a YouTuber now, and everybody fell off in 2019, and everybody in those videos agrees. Like, everything changed in 2019. And I don't think it's because after 2019, 2020, that's when COVID hit. I don't think it is COVID's fault. I think it maybe plays a part in it because we were all on our phones during COVID, and it really changed the way we consumed content, but you'd actually think that with all of our addictions to our phones, we'd be more likely to watch YouTubers more often and to keep up with YouTubers. But that isn't the case anymore. Yes, YouTubers might have bigger sub counts now than they used to. You know, a lot of YouTubers are theoretically bigger now than they used to be, but the reliability and consistency that YouTubers once had, that is a thing of the past. And it's not because people are like, I don't even think it's because people are actively choosing not to watch those YouTubers anymore. Like, yeah, sure, to some degree, but what it really is that YouTube, it doesn't work the way it used to. You know why my videos used to do well? It's because they were really popular with searches. My YouTube searches were very popular because I would cover Godzilla news, and so everybody's checking in to see Godzilla news, so they're looking it up, and when they look it up, my videos would come up. You know what nobody's doing anymore for the most part? Looking it up. That search bar on YouTube, that guy's abandoned more often than not, and when you do use the thing, it barely works anymore. It gives you like maybe 3 or 4 results that are actually related to your search, and then if you look just under that, it's like some shorts that it thinks are semi-related, and then it's just a bunch of recommended content that's statistically similar to your search, but that you're more likely statistically to click on and watch more of, and to watch something else afterward. Because if you are searching, in again my case, for Godzilla news, and you get your Godzilla news, you might be done. That might have been what you came to the website for, and so you might leave afterward, and they don't want that. They want to recommend videos that are like, hey, this is about Godzilla, and so you'll probably like it, and when you watch it, there's something else that you're going to want to watch afterward. It'll keep you on the platform. It's one of the bigger changes with the search bar that has happened that has really changed the way we engage with this platform as a whole. No one's really choosing what to watch anymore. YouTube is just telling us what to watch. The infinite scroll was first perfected by TikTok, and every website's wanted to capture that. So that's one of the things that Shorts do, is Shorts keeps you infinitely scrolling. But another way websites have changed is to keep you infinitely on their website. They really can't keep you satisfied. If you're satisfied, you might leave the website. And so therefore, you're always kept just satisfied enough. And they do that through the recommendeds. Recommendeds used to be, back in the day, made up mostly of your subscription feed, and a lot of the time of subscription videos you haven't seen yet. So like, go check these videos out, you haven't seen them yet, and they're from your subscribers. And then some of the recommended feed was filled with like, here are related videos directly relating to the current video you're on. That's not the case anymore. Most of the recommended feeds now is videos related to videos you're likely to watch. Like, maybe not even the current video you're on, but videos that are similar to things you have shown interest in the past. That's now what it's recommending you, and that's why it's harder to get off, because now it's giving you more options than ever that are generally related to your interests, but don't quite capture what you're here for at the moment. It can never let you capture what you're here for at the moment. Then you might leave. By giving you time to find new content, to actually search for new content, what they're really giving you is time to leave. You have time to leave the website because you've found what you want, and that cannot be. They can't have that. You can't leave the website because then they're not making ad rev. I'm using YouTube as an example because it's the website I'm the most familiar with. It's the one that I use the most. It's the one that I've worked on. It's the one that I know. But it is the same with all of these websites, Instagram and everything else. Now you're given so much content, it's impossible not to find something. And beyond that, you don't have time to think about it anymore. Like, the next thing is already here. And once it's already here, you just move on. Same with Shorts. Like, with Shorts, it takes away on a millisecond to millisecond basis your ability to actually judge, do I want to continue with the next video? Do I actually want to? Because by the time your brain has literally processed that question, you've already flicked your thumb and you're already on to the next one. So by the time you're like, okay, this has got to be the last short, this has got to be the last reel, whatever, your thumb flicks and you're already on to the next one. Another thing that's changed is, have you noticed that the recommendeds are now filled to the brim with videos you've already seen from YouTubers you're subscribed to, like videos you've already watched, maybe even some you've watched multiple times? That's the point. It's giving you videos you've already shown a high probability of sitting through in full, you know, so the longer you're on a video, the more ads can play on that video. So it's giving you recommendations that are like, you're already proven to have watched this video in full, so why not recommend it again, because you might sit through it again a second time, rather than giving you new content from that same creator. A lot of the times content creators with a big back catalog, their older videos will consistently to this day be outperforming their newer videos for that reason, because you've shown a higher statistic chance of rewatching that video than you will of watching a new video. People also talk a lot about like the dopamine flush. We have so much dopamine being flushed through our systems through these apps, you know, every time you get a like, it's a dopamine burst. Every time you scroll, it's technically a little dopamine burst as you're getting something new from it. It's like a reward from scrolling. But in doing so, it also numbs us. Like, we become so numb to dopamine that things that we used to enjoy, we don't really enjoy anymore. I've been playing a little bit more video games lately than I used to because I've spent so much time consuming content that I haven't really played as many games. But I'm back playing games, and I'm trying to actually focus on the games, you know? Like, one of the reasons I stopped playing video games was because they started to become a little boring to me. And I think it's because it wasn't like every 15 seconds something different is happening. I'm stuck in one game doing the same thing for a while. And that is a small difference that our brains pick up on, you know? Like, I was having a harder time enjoying the things that I used to enjoy because I was so used to the dopamine flushes that I would get from being on these apps. It's another thing that I really appreciated about being offline for a while there was that, like, all of a sudden it became a lot easier to enjoy my actual life and things that I took interest in, like watching movies or playing video games. Like, it became easier to appreciate things as small as that, because before that, things would often feel a little boring, a little fake. Like, somehow the real world felt in some ways faker than being online, or just more dull, you know? Just a little more dull. Things became unmemorable. Also, another thing that, like, these apps do is kind of rot your memory over time, but things became unmemorable. My attention span was totally destroyed. And another big issue is, like, through all of this that's slowly been building is, like, everything I do is multitasking. If I'm getting ready, I'm also watching a video or listening to a podcast or listening to music. I'm multitasking. If I'm playing video games, a lot of the time I'm multitasking. I'm listening to a podcast or I'm doing something else over it, you know? Like, even in that regard, I'm multitasking constantly. Everybody's multitasking. It's our default now. And our culture is being destroyed as well because we're being exposed to so much of everything at all of the time that culture is becoming very slowly diluted into all of the same big puddle of nothing. And it's harder to find things that you yourself have a bigger interest in and have more passion for because everything's being told to you all of the time. You have more options than ever. Not everything lands like it used to. You get less dopamine flush than you used to. And you see so many other people enjoying some fake trend or whatever online that it's like, I don't have interest in that trend, but everybody else does, so I guess that's our culture now. It's like there isn't much actual fully authentic culture anymore. Don't worry, gang, this video is not all doom and gloom. Let me give you some of the steps I've taken, and they're small. You know, there's bigger steps. People are using dumb phones now or whatever. You know, I'm not going that far with it. But on a smaller scale, there are smaller things you can do. Starting with reclaiming your algorithm. Again, why did you click this video? If you're still with it, I really appreciate that. If anybody out there has even seen this at all, I don't know. But reclaim your algorithm. Do you know specifically what you want to watch on YouTube or any of these apps? If you're opening TikTok or let's say you're opening Instagram, what specifically are you opening it for? Are you opening it just to scroll reels or are you opening it because there's something specific you're going there for? If there isn't something specific you're going there for, don't do it. Don't go on. You don't have a purpose there. You're going because you've been trained to go there. Even if you're like, I'm bored, I want to kill time. There's way better ways to kill time. Unless you specifically know, I want to go there because I want blank. Then it is your choice. Take back the decision making. Make choices for yourself. Another thing that you can do that's very subtle is stop using the homepage. The homepage is not full of your subscriptions anymore. Or if it is, again, it's probably like videos you've already seen. Stop using your homepage. Start using your sub feed. You subbed to those YouTubers for a reason. Start watching your subscriptions. Try to use recommended videos less and start using the search bar again and use those top results because those are the ones relating to your search. If you want videos on a certain topic, search them up. Don't just wait to see what YouTube recommends you. Do small things as well to start forcing yourself back into a more healthy space, you know, to get offline more often. Things that you can do that are really small is move from shorter content to longer content, like on the YouTube space. Stop using shorts. Start watching longer videos. And longer videos don't have to be hour-long videos or rant videos like this that last for 100 years. It could be something as small as like a 10-minute video. Start taking back long-form content for yourself. And as you do that, build up bigger and bigger. Maybe then get off YouTube. Maybe maybe then go to Max or Netflix or whatever it is you watch things on and start watching TV shows. It's not like TV shows last for 2 hours either. Watch TV shows. Maybe start with 30-minute shows. Work your way up to hour-long shows. Once you're done with that, work your way up to movies. Start watching movies instead. You want to open your phone? Turn on a movie. Watch a movie. Enjoy a movie. Start building up your tolerance to longer form content again. Unfortunately, it can kind of be harder than it sounds, which does suck. That's really a bummer. Start multitasking less. Eventually, stop watching stuff on your phone. You want to enjoy content? Watch it on your computer. Watch it on your TV. Read a book. I've actually been reading a lot lately, and I've been really enjoying it. You know, reading books like Dracula. It's not even like the most intellectual of a book, but it's been fun to read again. It's really nice. Get back out there into the real world and reclaim your life for yourself. Quit letting algorithms tell you exactly what's next for you. Start doing things that you want to do for you. It sounds easier than it is. I've been struggling with it. Like, I'm not perfect at it. It's not like I've got this down and mastered, but I'm trying my best. And I think everybody should. And it starts with as simple as reclaim your algorithm here, right now, on YouTube. Once again, question: why did you click on this video? Did you actually think it was gonna be interesting, or was it just one of those YouTube recommendations that you got that you were like, I wonder what this is, and you clicked on it without thinking much about it? Like, those are small things that make a big difference. But it starts with you. You gotta take the first step. I don't know if anybody watched this video or if anybody liked it. If nobody watches it, I kind of appreciate that in some ways it goes against my whole thesis here, but I don't know, I've seen crazier videos get popular that I've been left scratching my head about how this thing took off that I myself have watched, so who knows. If you do like videos like this though, I'd really appreciate it if you like the video and comment on it. Tell me if there's anything else you'd like to hear me discuss. There are definitely other topics I'd like to discuss in future videos, but yeah, I don't know, I don't know if I'll do this a lot. I don't know if I'll have an interest in doing this a lot, but I did have an interest in having this conversation. I thought it'd be interesting and fun, and so I did this. So I guess I'll see what people think of it. And until then, I guess thank y'all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man out.